Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Preacher Season 2, Episode 1. It's called On the Road. Full spoilers for the episode as always. So it's been a year, and unlike every other cable show we seemed to watch last year, this one actually came back around the same time that it did
Yeah,
last year. That was nice.
it makes a change.
Yeah. And it was funny to get into this because I remember liking a lot of moments in season one, but my memory of it wasn't like I wasn't hyped going into season two. I wasn't like, oh, I'm excited for Preacher coming back.
Yeah, I enjoyed season one, but it was like, okay,
It it, it
um,
it definitely had its slow spots, and it definitely had some plots that maybe weren't amazing and didn't go anywhere.
yeah,
Um, but obviously we ended with them going on the road, and it was like, okay, right, this feels like it's maybe more in line with what the books were, and kind of thing. And so it was interesting to see how this. And it started with a bang. The opening, like 10, 15 minutes of this, with them on the road being chased by the police, which was amusing in and of itself. Jesse making them hold hands and sing and whatever else, also amusing. Although Cassidy, of course, was the comic highlight, and he was last season as well. But
yeah,
it's like I'd almost forgotten when he's like the one cop's like holding the umbrella so he doesn't get burned, and like the way he keeps hiding from the sunlight was really funny. In fact, the bit because obviously the Santa Killer's attacks and he starts like blowing them all to hell, and there's good gore here. There's like heads exploding and all the rest of it. But my favourite part of this whole thing was just watching Cassidy constantly trying to avoid sunlight because there was holes in the car, and then
yeah,
eventually he was underneath the car, and he dragged the dead cop in to like stop the because the car was rolling and he was like crawling along, and he's trying to.
yeah.
It was funny
It,
stuff.
it, it was the small moments for me, like when when they're in the car and the song starts and he goes, "Oh, it's a shit song," and they all get really into it and they sing along. It's like, pretty good song, isn't it?
Oh, what song was it now? I'm blanking on the
Come on,
song.
Eileen.
Come on, Eileen, that was the one.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I feel like that's so relatable. Going, it's such a shit song, and then everyone joins in. You're like, yeah, that was good.
yeah, this is not bad. And obviously, do you know what I think really stood out to me in this episode? Because most of season one, we didn't really have the three of them together as a trio. Because
Not very much. No.
as Cassidy even points out, there was a whole thing in season one where him and Shulip had a thing because they didn't even know that, like he didn't know that her and Jesse were even a couple. Like he
Yeah.
went most of season one not knowing that information, which shows you how little they interacted as a trio. Uh, and certainly, I think it's the heart of the show right now. Like them kind of debating and bickering is kind of the best part. The other part I really liked later on was between Jesse and Chulop when they're deciding if he should use the Genesis power on Tammy, the woman who runs the strip club, and they're just sitting
Yeah.
like bickering about it in front
And
of
just
her.
right in front of her, and she's just like,
Yeah,
"What the hell's going on?"
and she's trying to call the security guard, but he's too busy fighting with Cassidy because he touched the
Yeah,
stripper.
I think you're right. They're saying that the trio are the best part of the show. Like, I think even last year, even when they weren't all together, the best parts typically tended to be interactions between whichever two of them were together at the time.
Yeah,
So just having the three of them together makes sense as why that'll be the best part.
yeah, having them all three of them share a bed.
Yeah,
Cassidy like, in Ireland, you get used to your parents humping basically right on top of you. So if you two want to go right ahead, no peep for me.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the strongest. So although the other thing I do really like actually is the Santa Killers.
yeah.
Uh,
He's quite an imposing figure, isn't he?
he's really imposing. Every time he came in, like my subwoofer was going nuts for every single footstep. It had that T Rex effect from Jurassic Park, where every
Yeah,
footstep was a thump. And he's this opposing, and I like how they kept shooting him like down the road, like he's far away, and you just see the gunslinger sort of figure
it makes him
walking.
this mythical figure, doesn't it? Like where
Yeah,
you never get a good look at him. He's always coming towards you, but you never properly get him.
yeah, it gives it that Michael Myers force of nature kind of imposing sort of mantra, and yeah, probably my favourite shot of the entire episode right at the end when he's coming down the road at night, but it's only like parts of it are lit with the street lamps, but some of it isn't. So he's walking in and out of the shadows as he's walking towards Jesse, and Jesse obviously learns that he can't use his power on him. So it sets him up as the villain of the season. He's quite imposing, as you say, and he's quite good. I do think the pacing is still kind of rubber bandy, where the opening 15 minutes just feel constant fun, constant good times. and then it sort of slows down when they go to like Preacher Mike's house, and
Yeah.
it slows right down, and it feels like it's slowing down for a while, and then it picks back up, and it does do this sort of back and forth.
It doesn't flow properly. It's up or down. It's
Yeah.
on or off. There is no flow between them. It's just binary.
And I think that was definitely a problem in season 1, and I'm noticing it here as well. Although I do think this was a strong, for an episode of Preacher, I think this was a strong showing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Because it definitely showed this is all the things that the show's good at and good for. Plus, the villain's actually really. I mean, he was good in season 1, but we never saw him after the main characters. It was all separate in his own hell kind of thing. I thought that was one of the best moments of season 1 when the text finally came up saying hell.
Yeah, it was a fantastic moment.
Yeah. So there's definitely things it's doing really right. The dark sense of humour, still really good. And I'm not sure how, like, are they going to be on the run all season long, knowing that he's after them, like he's coming, and that almost anyone they interact with along the path is probably going to end up dead.
Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously, we see him like the great moment where he rips out the tongue is fantastic.
Yeah, the guy at the store, and then obviously Preacher Mike understands that he's going to make him talk, so he kills himself so he can't.
That's it. Like you feel bad for the guy at the store because obviously he'd been told to pretend they were never there. So he literally can't.
Do you know what touch I liked about that is Tulip doesn't know about that, and she goes to pay for the drink she's got because let's not gloss over the fact that she used an intestine to funnel gas. That was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
And she's got blood smeared all over her face because she's had an intestine in her mouth. But she's buying all these drinks, and the guy just ignores her because he's been ordered by Genesis not to notice anything that's there. But it's funny. I think from her perspective, it feels like he's been really racist.
Yeah,
That's the way it played to me. It felt like he was being really racist. I knew he wasn't because I knew he just couldn't see her. But that's the way it played. And although Cassidy, as much as I love him, he did kill a cat in this episode. I'm not too happy about that. That's
I'm fine with that. No problem from me.
bad Cassidy, bad vampire. But no, he is really funny though. The whole see when he's like he's kind of been apologetic about the whole stripper thing, and he's like, "There's a 3-second rule. You're not out of touch for 3 seconds. It's industry standard." And Chilip's like, "That's food."
It's fantastic, that moment. I would say it's like it has these pacing issues, but there's still elements of fun throughout, just because they are all together inherently now.
Yeah.
So it's automatically there are more moments of fun banter.
And while I do think, I mean, I think I was expecting to miss a couple of the other characters from the town, and I do think it's a little bit anticlimactic that they all just died in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I actually do think it's a nice refresh for the show where we don't have to deal with any of their subplots anymore.
Yeah, it gives it an excuse to get closer to the comic and have the road trip. It gives it the excuse for us to be going, why are we not seeing any of this? Why are we just forgetting all that stuff?
Yeah. Which they don't know about yet, because Tulip almost hears about it, because she's asking the guys in the strip bar, what you watching?
Yeah.
So, oh, did you not hear about that town that blew up? So, no. So obviously the main plot here, they're looking for God, because God's went missing. That was set up in season 1, and that's why they go to Tammy, because Tammy claims to have seen him. And Tammy, of course, dies in a very hilarious fashion, accidentally, from the gun next door, from the Cassidy bouncer fight that we mentioned already. And basically they find out that God went to the strip club, and the other preacher Mike, he sort of dismissed it, thinking she was just back on the booze or whatever. But obviously now, once he hears everything from Jesse and sees the power at play, he maybe goes, "Oh well, maybe there was actually."
I love how he doubts the power part. Mike. He doubts the powers. He asks Jesse to prove it, and obviously once he does prove it, he's like, "Okay, sure." But even before that, when he goes, "Yeah, God's not there anymore," he's like, "I thought something was wrong," just immediately, no question.
I have no answer.
Well,
Also,
it's
let's not gloss over the fact that he was keeping a woman in a cage to make her go cold turkey from posting things on Twitter and Instagram.
A cage with a cover over it.
Yeah,
that was important.
He did like to specify that. But do you know what my favourite part of that whole little twist is? I don't think it's not that funny in and of itself, but just in hindsight, when you think back to the first time you see her and she's asking, "Please just get me a phone, please get me a phone," you think it's because she's wanting help because she's trapped in a cage. But when you find out why she's actually in there, it's because that's her addiction. She wants her phone so she can post on Instagram.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Also, Cassidy going, You know, there's much easier ways to do this. Just, lock her in a cellar.
No. So no, obviously it's got its wit still there, and they go to Tammy. Tammy, as she's dying, says he wasn't here for the girls. He was here for the jazz.
Do you know what? I was glad they brought that up, like when she mentioned that, because I thought it was really strange when they walked into this strip club and it was just jazz. I was like, this feels odd.
It's a contradiction. You don't usually expect to see a fancy jazz band. And
I think 80s hair metal in it for strip clubs.
Yeah.
I don't think jazz, pretty good jazz at that.
I think there's a lot of things I'd accept as being the music in a strip club, but jazz isn't the one that.
Yeah,
that feels out of place.
It does.
The only thing that feel more out of place is if you went in and it was like Beethoven.
Yeah, jazz makes it feel like it's a proper upper class strip club.
Yeah, it's a respectable joint.
It is, isn't it? It's like yeah, there's all these half-naked girls dancing around, but jazz.
Yeah. And it's not even like the clientele looked like they were upper class though. Everyone who was standing around looked like they were, farmers and hillbillies and whatever else.
This is why I was going, why is there jazz? This is so strange. So I was really glad that it was like, no, jazz is a reason that there's a point.
Do you know what I really like? I like that they shrug off the Santa Killers at the start. We're like, oh, if he shows up, we'll deal with him again. And he's like, oh, it's just a bit of bad luck to start off the trip. Yeah, just a bit of bad luck. After the 10 cops have all been brutally murdered in front of them, and they've had this car chase, and they've all almost died. I like that. So the dark humour is definitely my favourite part of the show.
Absolutely.
The Hunt for God is somewhat interesting, but not like super amazing. I think this is a show that I'm very much here for the characters rather than I am the plot.
Yeah, at least for now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that they can get me invested in this. Why we should care about the Hunt for God.
Yeah, that would be cool, I think. But we've got an intimidating villain, which is good.
Yes.
And hopefully the constant hunt coming from him should add a nice layer of tension to the whole season. What I am worried about is that they'll do something to delay him. Like he'll be a threat for maybe this next episode, but they'll find out of a way where they think they've stopped him, and he'll be gone for like half the season, only to come back later on. And I kind of hope he's a constant threat. Like, it's a constant worry.
See, you say that, but I kind of don't want him in every episode either, because I feel like you might lose the effect. If he's just there every episode and they just get away, I feel like the threat of him walking down the street will be lost.
I don't want to see him every episode. What I'm saying is once they actually accept that he's a proper threat who's going to keep coming, like, we have this idea just from them that they have to keep moving. And we see them.
So they're always just an excuse to keep them on the move rather than actually him always being in every episode. I agree. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Just this feeling like the
just so they know they're being chased.
It's just we were talking about this game before we started, but it's kind of like FTL, where the whole thing with FTL is that the fleet of enemy ships are coming up behind you, so you have to keep moving forward. It's that constant feeling. That's the worst possible example. The amount of people who are watching this who have probably played FTL and get that reference, minute, but it's just the first thing that came to my head because we were talking about it earlier. Yeah. But no, so I think it was a strong first one. It still has some pacing problems, and I've got a feeling that's probably just going to stick. Hopefully not, because I will say this: I do think this feels a little bit more confident than season 1 did.
Yeah, and it's possible that it was just introducing the new status quo of the season that kind of dragged it down in terms of pacing. That once we're not having to deal with going right, we're on the run. We're going after God. This is who's after us.
Possibly.
Once we've got that out of the way, maybe it can just be more consistent as a episode.
We don't have a set of town characters we have to have subplots for anymore. We can just
We've only got the 3.
Yeah.
We're not really going to get subplots much, I assume, because we're going to run into people and we're going to maybe go off on tangents, but those tangents will likely still be with our core trio. It'll be unlikely that we'll cut away and see something else entirely as a subplot.
And if we do, it'll probably be a new villain who's building up to meeting the team or something like that. There'll be like a more direct...
There'll be a reason for it to tie in, yeah.
Yeah. So here's hoping for a strong season 2 that beats often good but not great season of TV, which was season 1. Yeah. So here's hoping season 2 can remain confident, maybe make the plot a little bit more engaging. But for now, at least, the black humour is on point. The violence that goes with that is on point. and I like the trio of characters.
Yeah, and
so,
those are enough for me to enjoy the show as a whole, even if it never progresses beyond these problems. There's enough there that I'll still enjoy it. It just won't become something great like it could be.
yeah, there you go. That is Preacher Season 2, Episode 1. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. Have a look over there, see some of the bonuses you can get. But that is us, so thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?